This video is going to be a film study look at two of the Ravens' young tight ends, Charlie Kolar and Travis Vokolek, comparing them, talking about who the Ravens might keep. I find it difficult to believe that Charlie Kolar, a guy who missed most of last season, wouldn't get more of an opportunity to make the team. But if Travis Vokolek has outplayed him by that much, in preseason games, and he certainly had an impact there, and in practice, then it's definitely possible that the Ravens could go that route. I do wonder. I'm not saying that this is my opinion, but I do wonder if we're all kind of a little misguided, and it's not Charlie Kolar versus Travis Vokolek. It's Charlie Kolar / Travis Vokolek versus Patrick Ricard. Now, Ricard did get a lot of snaps in Monday night's game, and I thought he played well. Of course, he had a really crucial catch on a 3rd and 3. I believe that drive ended up being the drive where there was an interception on the left side of the end zone, but I could be wrong. I may have my drives mixed up. But in any case, Patrick Ricard played a lot, played well. Todd Monken's use of 20 personnel is interesting. I think he's trying to put the fullback on the field and 1st and 10 and see if the defense matches with their base defensive personnel. And in most cases, I did not think the Commanders did so. I thought the Commanders went with their nickel. They basically treated Ricard like a tight end, which would make the 20 personnel we threw out there essentially 11. On that note, 11 personnel, Vokolek and Kolar are guys that, maybe not this year, obviously, because you got Andrews and Likely ahead of them on the depth chart, but they're unique talents. Vokolek in the red zone clearly is a weapon. Kolar's very agile. And at least last night, going up the seams, catching the ball over the top of the linebacker level, in between and in front of the safeties, kind of, and being willing to put his body out there and maybe take a hit, I thought was pretty impressive. I'm not going to advocate necessarily for either guy to be the tight end that's kept as the 4th tight end. I do wonder, like I said before, if it's more so 4 tight ends versus 3 tight ends and 1 fullback that the Ravens might possibly keep. I wonder if that's the actual conversation that's happening. I got 10 plays loaded up. Let's get to it. Going to be in order that they happened in the game. First possession is a 1st and 10 from the negative 35-yard line. I think the second play of the game, but I could be wrong. I think it's after a 10-yard run by Justice Hill. And you can see we go from tray wing A to tray wing B. I thought in the reaction video that this ball was low. It was clearly not. This is just a drop by Kolar, and I'm going to do this multiple times to promote awareness of formations and where the running back is. Running back on the same side as the tight end and the fullback, and as for that matter, A gun. As soon as he switches, it's B gun. It's basically a high-low. They're trying to get the flat defender out of here and throw the ball to Kolar second. The Commanders are in like an underfront, basically. This is a Sam linebacker walked up to the tight end side. And so as Ricard releases out into the flats, he's going to drag that 9 technique with him. It's essentially 3-4 outside linebacker rule. Don't let anybody cross your face. First to the flats. And in this case, he takes first to the flats. Inside linebacker is responsible for Kolar on the little check out, and it's incomplete. Thought Josh Johnson was very decisive and very clear and accurate for the most part last night, barring 2 exceptions. All right, second possession, 2nd and 6, going to be complete to Tariq Black down here. Nice throw. Kolar's up at the top in the slot to the boundary side. I have talked about this in reference to Mark Andrews, that he had been generally a right side tight end prior to 2002. Still had some tendencies there. I think it seems to me that Monken is going to use the tight end to the boundary a lot. And in this case, you have the ball on the right hash. And our lone tight end in the 11 personnel look into the boundary. Not a throw to Charlie Kolar. I was just using that as a platform to explain to you guys. Although, if Josh Johnson was to come off his first read and get over to back to the right side of the field or the middle of the field, Charlie Kolar was coming open. All right, same possession. 3rd and 1. Kolar is the lone tight end and 11 personnel. A couple of things wrong with this little toss to Gordon. Everybody's a little short-sighted to talk about the running backs all the time, and it kind of reveals to you who actually looks at blocking schemes. And it's okay if you're one of those people who does not, but you've got multiple problems here, and it's not Charlie Kolar and it's not Melvin Gordon. Kolar gets out here, does a nice job outside. I think he ends up picking up the safety, not Forbes, because Forbes, of course, makes the play. James Prochet is supposed to block down on this D end. I mean, come on. He's not going to make that block, and he doesn't make that block no matter how many times we watch it. Additionally, Falele is supposed to loop out and go get the corner or the force player, and he's too slow as well. So you got multiple problems here. Let me do this a couple of times so you can see it. Prochet unable to get that block on the defensive end. That's a genetic mismatch. Like the result of that play in terms of what he was asked to do, that was decided at birth, or at least how the defensive end was fed his entire life. And then also Falele getting out on the edge is just too slow. My player broke up. Sorry. Falele getting out on the edge is just too slow. So what happens? The defensive end that Prochet was unable to pin down is on the inside hip of Gordon. So Gordon can't just cut this up. Additionally, Falele is too daggone slow getting out here to the corner and kind of gets in the way of Gordon bouncing it. Forbes is doing a great job. So there's really not much that doesn't get in the way of Gordon bouncing it. Gets in the way of Gordon just cutting it downhill. Besides that D end is on his hip. It's a bigger problem that we can't block out on the edge, and we can't pin the guy down with Prochet, who probably shouldn't have been the receiver in that position. But in any case, check out Kolar doing a nice job at the top side. I digressed a little bit there, but it's kind of a point of contention for me that I like to talk about when people blame running backs and blame one player and don't recognize that it was the scheme that failed, the execution of the scheme that failed and not necessarily that guy's athletic ability. All right, 3rd and 3, I think you've got Kolar and Ricard. This is 3rd possession. This is going to be the completion to Ricard. Really cool. I would say Kolar's route's just kind of like a screen route, a pick route, whatever you want to call it. The inside linebacker who appears to check up on Kolar, I think it's 57 or maybe 53, does a pretty good job of making contact with Ricard as well. I think it is 57. This guy right here, you can see Kolar is clearing the first guy, getting his hands on him. And I think he's just trying to get in the way of the potential of a defender to deal with Ricard, I believe. Essentially a mesh concept, I would say. One of the few times that I've seen mesh defended well at almost any level. If you pay attention to my videos, you know that normally I say that the route that's going to be open is the route coming from the opposite side of the running back's release, which in this case would be Tylan Wallace. And Tylan Wallace doesn't come open because the Sam linebacker who initially chucked Ricard is now getting hands on Wallace underneath. Great job by Josh Johnson. Great job by Ricard playing through the contact. Nothing bad to say about Kolar or really anybody there. All right, 2nd and 3 from the negative 33. This one's going to be complete to Kolar, 11 personnel. You can see trips left B. So now the tight end is to the field. So when I talk about formations and the tight end being into the boundary a lot, what am I talking about? Well, basically, the tight end is typically into the boundary when you move him to the field. Remember the first time I talked about the tight end being into the boundary, if his feet were approximately here, you got a 2-by-2 formation. We're talking about Kolar not being here, theoretically. Well, what happens when you move the tight end to the field? You got a 3-by-1. You got trips to the field, which is generally where trips is going to be. I'm not oversimplifying Monken's offense. I'm saying to you, he appears to be a guy who generally sets the tight end to the boundary, and when he wants to go 3-by-1, puts the tight end to the field. There's a lot of guys like that. It's not just Todd Monken. You can see Kolar's trying to clear the linebacker level. You got a too high look. I think they're occupying the safety to the top side to the field with that vertical route right there. Potential for a vertical here, and then a seam here. And Josh Johnson hasn't released the ball yet. Strong arm. Did his arm look stronger last night than it did against the Eagles? Maybe I'm misremembering that game. But I didn't see these laser type throws. It's a fake draw too, by the way, which is really cool. There's some intricacies to Monken's offense and some of the things that he does that we just haven't seen as Ravens fans, so I appreciate it. And when I do become aware of it, because I'm obviously not aware of all of the little intricacies, but this little fake draw here, didn't see us do that a ton and then throw up the seam. Great catch by Kolar. All right, that was 3rd possession. And I think this is same possession, 1st and 10 from the 28. You've got 12 personnel because here's Kolar, and then Vokolek is up there. It's going to be a same side run. So what I mean by that is Gordon's going to go over to the tight end side. He's on the same side as the tight end, so bunch right closed. Closed, the back side means there's a tight end, inline tight end, 3-point stance on the back side. So bunch right, closed, and we would normally say A, but when you get to bunching trips and you use A and B, it's kind of a problem. But in any case, you can see it's a same side run. We got 3-on-2 here. Gordon coming downhill. Vokolek doesn't look too bad blocking to me, but I can't say that he looks like a really overwhelming run blocker. Not sure what his rating would be in Madden on run blocking. I don't play Madden, all those things, but it seems to me that pass receptions, getting isolated against smaller guys in the pass concepts would be his relative strength. Fourth possession, another 11 personnel trips, and again, ball on the left hash, where's the tight end to the field. So, we could do a game where we kind of just blocked off this portion of the field. Very gaudy and ugly there, forgive me. And we said, where's the tight end? If he's to the boundary, it's 2x2. If he's to the field, it's trips. And we've done that before with other teams that we've scouted from a high school standpoint, and it wasn't just one. You're probably talking 10 or 12 spread teams where you could say tight end boundary, 2x2, tight end field, 3x1, tight end boundary, running back boundary, 3x1 to the field, because you got your 3 receivers to the field, which is actually what Eric Bieniemy did a lot last night. But in any case, another very similar route to the first one that he caught. Takes a shot from the safety. I think there was a defensive penalty here as well. I think it was a hold, but I can't exactly recall. Kind of giving away the coverage a little bit when you have this guy apex between 2 and 3. You're not going to generally play man from that apex position. You got a Tampa 2 where you have the Mike linebacker running a pipe between the hashes. And again, Josh Johnson hasn't thrown the ball yet. Some people would have. Strong arm. Thought his arm looked great last night. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Last look at it. 2 of these from Kolar. Vokolek gets a lot of attention for the 2 touchdowns, as well he should. But Kolar made 2 really nice plays as well. Second half, I believe you got Anthony Brown in here. First reception for Vokolek. 2nd and 10, 6th possession. I think this is the first possession of the third quarter. A really nice possession in terms of the flow of the offense. And Vokolek, tough to bring down, clearly. And you can see his size and his height. I mean, I don't know. Is he 6'5"? Is he 6'6"? Is he 6'7"? Some of these times where he has to use footwork, and I think this is one of them, look a little less than stellar. It doesn't look horrible, but I think you would agree that he seems to be a guy that would be more so a matchup because of his verticality, which he showed in this game. All right, so same possession, his first touchdown. He's up top with Ben Mason. Trey Wright B. Trey is tight end wing, and then a third receiver out there. Actually, Trey wing B, excuse me, because we bring the receiver down close. Little levels concept, I guess is what some people would call it. Over, under. Vokolek is the inside tight end, and he's running the second little in cut. And the outside tight end, Mason, who's actually, a fullback, obviously, is running the first in cut. So I think on Madden and stuff, I think, they call it levels, whatever you want to call it, over, under. Strong guy with the ball in his hands. I don't know what you guys think, but he looks like a guy who probably will gain another 20 pounds in his NFL career if he's around for 10 years, maybe more. Really, really strong-looking dude. Kind of, from the standpoint of gaining weight over the course of your career, kind of reminds me of like a Hayden Hurst, although he's bigger and taller and longer than Hayden Hurst, where Hurst was like really speedy and, I don't want to say thin because he's a big-ass dude, but when he was with the Ravens in 2019, clearly not as big as the Hayden Hurst we saw last year that looked like he was like plus 40 pounds. So first touchdown, strong catch, playing through contact. What's not to like? It's clear that people should be excited about the guy, and I am too. I just wonder if the question isn't Kolar versus Vokolek. I'm a little clickbaity with my title, obviously, and really it's Kolar/Vokolek versus Pat Ricard. 8th possession. Little stick nod, whatever people want to call it, head fake to the outside. Isn't incredibly smooth with it, but it's an 8-yard touchdown on a 3rd and goal, excuse me, not a 2nd and goal. Gets the linebacker to hesitate a little bit, and then is able to get it over top of him. I'm not going to show you the end zone angle. I'm having a lot of trouble getting the film, to be honest with you, and keeping up my database for preseason film is going to be a challenge until this film issue gets figured out. But throw maybe a little bit on the backside, but you never know what the quarterback is seeing in terms of the front side safety. He might be trying to throw it away from that guy. So, and that's one of the things where I'm just not comfortable saying definitively that the throw is away is on the wrong side. Now, it doesn't look like Brown sees this safety, but he probably knows that it's, a too high look into the red zone. And so he could be trying to throw it away from that guy. Maybe it is off by 2 feet, as I said in the reaction video, but nonetheless, a touchdown. Pretty cool to see Anthony Brown succeeding, a week after he threw that interception in the fourth quarter. He's a gunslinger, man. I kind of like the guy, to be real with you. I kind of like the fact that Anthony Brown's willing to throw the football and let these guys make plays. We saw it for real in the Cincinnati game last year, week 18 of the regular season. Anthony Brown was willing to put the ball up and let guys make plays. Of course, he did throw an interception to Isaiah Likely. He did get strip sacked down in the end zone, so we had problems with ball security and not turning the ball over for sure. But he's a gunslinger. And he's an interesting player. I think, in terms of this year's Ravens team, he's the odd man out for sure. Is other NFL teams going to see any of his film and pick him up, once we cut him, trying to get down to the 53? I think it's possible. I do. I don't think teams would pick him up to necessarily be their backup, but Anthony Brown looks like a guy who could hang around in this league for a while, 6-8 years, just like Josh Johnson has done, except I think Josh Johnson's arm strength, in some ways, at least last night, looked even better. You guys let me know what you think about the Kolar versus Vokolek question, if you think that is indeed the question that the Ravens front office and coaching staff will have to answer, or if you think the real one is 4 tight ends versus 0 fullbacks on this roster, because you got Ben Mason there as well. I think it's possible that that's where the Ravens are. It would be great if you could figure out a way to keep 4 tight ends and 1 fullback and 6 receivers, but I just don't think we can do it. Not in this day and age where injuries and the season becomes basically a war of attrition. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section. It's a fun one to try to do. It's very labor intensive tonight trying to get the film created. So I'll try to do one more, perhaps a Justice Hill video if you guys want to see it. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this content, please grab a link, share it on social media, and share all Ravens content creators, links for real, not just my own. Appreciate you guys' time.